A long time ago on the internet, far, far away, there was a search engine. In 1998, two Stanford PhD students launched what would become one of the most powerful companies in human history from just a garage. That company, my friend, we call it Google. But this isn't a story about just a tech giant. It's a story of meteoric rise, stumbling while running, and an uncertain future filled with both promise and peril alike. Today, we are diving deep into the rise, stumble, and transformation of Google and how it's fighting the biggest battle of its existence while building the future of AI. Let's rewind to the late 90s. The internet was young, chaotic, and full of clutter. Search engines like Alta Vista and Yahoo were struggling to make sense of the growing digital world. Then came Sergey Brin and Larry Page, two brilliant minds who believed they could build a better way to navigate the web. They created something revolutionary, PageRank, an algorithm that ranked websites not just by keywords but by how many other sites linked to them. By 2004, Google went public with a whopping $27 billion valuation, and that was just the beginning. Fast forward to 2015, and Google restructured under its new parent company, Alphabet Industries. This wasn't just a name change, it was a declaration of intent. Google was no longer just a search engine, it was now a sprawling empire of innovation. From Android to YouTube, and from Chromebook to Maps, Google had its fingers in every pie, and for a while, it seemed almost unstoppable. At its peak, Google controlled over 90% of the global search traffic. Its ad business alone racked in $200 billion annually by 2023, more than the GDP of some countries and companies like Uber, Facebook. So how did a company this dominant start showing cracks? Around 2018, something shifted. Innovation slowed down, products became bloated, users began to notice something strange. Google was making mistakes, and big ones. The numbers told a brutal story. For the first time since 2015, Google's search market share dropped below 90% in 2024, averaging just 89.6% in the final quarter. Take the example of Google+. Once touted as the next big social network, launched in 2011, it was meant to rival Facebook. But by 2019, it was quietly shut down after a major security breach exposed user data. And yet, after all this, instead of focusing on fixing real problems, Google just kept launching products that felt half-baked. Stadia, its cloud gaming platform, promised to revolutionize gaming, but ended up being one of the biggest flops in tech history. And don't even get me started on Google Glass, which sounded futuristic in theory, but creepy in practice. But despite all of this, the most damaging misstep came from within: AI overconfidence. In 2023, Google launched Bard after OpenAI launched its ChatGPT, its answer to ChatGPT at the time. But during the highly anticipated demo, Bard gave an incorrect response, causing Google stock to drop $8 billion in value in just a single day. This was a wake-up call. Investors panicked, employees left, critics called it the end of Google's dominance. For the first time in Google's history, people asked whether Google is losing its edge. But here's where the story gets interesting. While everyone was busy writing Google's obituary, something was happening behind closed doors. People weren't just using ChatGPT for answers, they were preferring it. Gen Z users started saying, "I'll AI that," instead of "I'll Google that." The unthinkable was happening. Google was becoming uncool. But inside Google's DeepMind labs, a different story was unfolding. For 4 years, while OpenAI grabbed headlines, Google's best minds were working in secret on something they called the GPT killer. The project Gemini. Not just another AI model, but a complete rethinking of artificial intelligence. Unlike ChatGPT, which was essentially a very smart text predictor, Gemini could think in maps, images, videos, audio, and text simultaneously, like a digital brain that actually understood the world. When Gemini finally launched, it didn't just beat GPT-4, it destroyed it in 30 out of 32 benchmarks. It wasn't even close. But Google didn't stop there. They made a move that caught everyone off guard. Instead of keeping Gemini in the cloud like everyone else, Google started embedding it directly into phones with Gemini Nano chip. Think about it. While competitors needed internet connections, cloud servers, Google users could run advanced AI right in their pocket, instantly, privately, and offline. It was a masterstroke. Google hadn't just built better AI, they changed the rules of the game entirely. But Google's biggest challenge wasn't coming from competitors, it was coming from courtrooms. In August 2024, a federal judge delivered a bombshell ruling. Google had illegally monopolized the search market. The Department of Justice argued that Google paid billions, over $26 billion in 2021 alone, to companies like Apple and Samsung to make Google the default search engine on their devices. This wasn't just about business deals, it was about market control. With these agreements, Google effectively blocked competitors from gaining ground. The judge's word were damning. Google had used its dominance to maintain its monopoly in search. Google is a monopolist and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly. But here's where it gets interesting. Even as Google faced potential breakup, the company doubled down on innovation rather than backing down. Here's where Google's true genius becomes clear. Veo 3. Unlike OpenAI's Sora, which generates silent videos, Veo 3 creates Hollywood quality footage, complete with dialogue, soundtracks, and sound effects. We are talking about AI-generated videos so realistic, they are flooding social media with clips that look like professional productions. It was as if Google was saying, you can challenge our past, but you can't stop our future. But step 2, that's where things get scary for the competition. December 2025, Google Assistant dies. Gemini takes over every Android phone on Earth. Not an upgrade, a complete replacement. Suddenly, 3 billion Android users have access to the world's most advanced AI assistant. One that doesn't just answer questions, but actually does things. Hey Gemini, book me the cheapest ride home. Order Thai food for 7 p.m. and reschedule my morning meeting because traffic will make me late. One sentence, multiple apps, perfect execution. Apple users watch this and think, why can't Siri do that? Samsung users think, why am I still using Bixby? Here's the killer move. Google just doesn't make the AI, they control the operating system it lives on. Apple can't replicate this because they don't have Gemini. Samsung can't because they don't control Android's core. But wait, there's more. While everyone focuses on phones, Google is quietly conquering every screen in your life. Your TV, YouTube with Gemini, recommendations that actually understand your mood. Your car, Android Auto with Gemini, planning your entire trip, not just navigation. Fuel, lunch, dinner plans, everything. What about your work? Gemini in Google Workspace, writing emails that sound like you and scheduling meetings that actually make sense. Well, all this isn't just about having a better AI. This is about Google becoming the invisible layer that runs your entire digital life. The moment you wake up, your work, and your dinner, everything Google is there every single time. And the best part, by the time competitors realize what's happening, Google will have 3 billion users so deeply integrated into the system that switching becomes almost impossible. This antitrust case, yes, might force Google to play by different rules, but it can't force them to make worse products. So here's the real question. Is this the future we want? One company so good at AI that everyone else becomes irrelevant. Google isn't just surviving the storm, they are using it to rebuild the entire digital world around them. From humble beginnings in a garage to facing down federal judges while building artificial general intelligence. Google's story is far from over. In fact, we might be watching the most fascinating chapter yet. A company forced to prove it can stay innovative while playing by new rules. Thanks for watching this deep dive into Google's rise, stumble, and uncertain future. Hit that like button if you found this insightful, subscribe for more tech analysis, and let us know in the comments, do you think this antitrust case will hurt or help Google's innovation in the long run? Thanks.